What's up? Welcome to the ELKSHAPE podcast. Welcome to September. This will be a 4-week series. Week to week, I'm going to hop in here solo and try to talk you through the phases of elk hunting. I'm going to try to give you I'm just going to brainstorm with you guys, get you some good, solid ideas to think about while you're out there. Good chance you're listening to this episode and you are driving towards elk camp. And you have a smile on your face, as you should, because it's finite and it's finally here. And there's so much anticipation. And I just want to make sure that we can harness that excitement and put it to good use week one. And I want to kind of give you guys just some hard-hitting tips, things to think about, and that's it. So this will be a short listen. We're going to do 4 of these. And the first week is all about early season tactics. Week 2, we are going to cover calling versus not calling. I think that's important. Week 3, we're going to talk about peak rut. And then week 4, we're going to talk about buzzer beater tactics. You're out of time. You got to make S happen fast. Let's go. So week 1, you're stoked, you're pumped, you're headed down there. Hopefully everything is on lock. You've already visualized a million times how you're going to execute a perfect 12-ring shot on that bugling bull, on that bull that's feeding that doesn't know you're there, or calling them in. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about, I'm just going to say it. I hate the classic, this is pre-rut, this is peak rut, this is post-rut. Dude, we're not doing that shit, okay? Here's why. Because it's different everywhere you go. I have filmed a 7x7 with 50-something cows, rutting his brains out, chasing off other bulls, and trying to breed cows from a high mountainside, August 25th, 2009 or 10, in northern Nevada on a mule deer hunt. Thinking to myself, damn, I wish I had an elk tag right now. I didn't know elk could rut this early. August 30th, 2002 or 2000, I think 2002, maybe 3, I can't remember. North Idaho was opening August 30th. I was in a spike camp tent. I walked out, grabbed my gear, went through a sea of alders, got to a beautiful little saddle in North Idaho where you can't see anything, by the way, let out a bugle, bull rips off within 100 yards. A herd of elephants come roaring down the hillside at me. He starts screaming. I'm squeaking on a Carlton diaphragm and a Carlton bugle tube, making chuckles and squeak sounds. And I don't think I could have made a sound that was wrong that day. August 30th, bugled this 6-point with 10 cows, all of them right in. 10-yard shot, pull back. And my bugle tube I left under my arm, and it's sticking out in the pathway of my bowstring unknowingly. And I get my shot and I punch the shit out of the trigger, and thunk, I hear this horrible sound. It's my string hitting my bugle tube. Arrow goes right at the bull's feet. He runs off. Dude, I called in. That bull had all his cows and he was so fired up. That was a long time ago, but I'm just saying, like, wow. And I didn't know really how to make great elk sounds at that time. So, I know another one. This will be probably 2017 or 18. I was with my buddy Jacob Villasenor. He was filming. We'd spent 5 days trying to find big bulls. And I think we heard a couple of like pipey location bugles at night, but that was it. There were always one bugles and that was it. Finally, on September 1st, we found ourselves in the dark hiking towards this ranch that had a pivot full of Timothy hay, and it was surrounded by BLM. So we're staying on BLM. And as the sun, it's just starting to get that little glow on the mountainside, you're like, okay, daylight's 15 minutes away, that first legal light. And we start hearing bugles, and we're like, oh my gosh, just head towards that way. As soon as it gets light, there are literally 100 cows and calves rounded up in the middle of this ag field. There are double-digit bulls, but there's 4 biggins, one being the biggest 5x5 I've ever seen. I bet he was 350 and he was a 5x5. This was Nevada as well, by the way, so I drew this tag. There was like a 360 and a 370 and possibly a 380. These were like bulls. These were bulls that I've just never seen this big on public land. And well, technically we're on private at the moment, but they were literally sorting out, rounding out, like getting these cows situated. They were fighting, they were running each other around, and eventually four of the bigger bulls each got about 25 cows broken up each, and they all went their own way, bugling the whole way. And later that day, I killed my bull. He was one of the four big ones. And I was like, man, what a difference a day makes between a light switch on and off. Prior to that, we couldn't buy a bugle to save our life. We couldn't find elk. And we just happened to catch that day where pecking order, sorting out, all that stuff happened, and it happened early. Obviously, we want to all catch that day. I don't know when it's going to happen for you, but I want to give you some things to think about. When it comes to bull behavior, for me, and depending on where you hunt, I'm personally going to spend September 1st, or let's say August 30th, if you're hunting Idaho and maybe even Utah, all that stuff that opens earlier. Most states open around September 1. The first 4 to 5 days of your season, I'm convinced the biggest bulls are most likely not with cows yet. This is BRCC, by the way. This is Black Rifle Coffee Company, discount code ELKSHAPE20. Here's why I promote them. They're Pro 2A. They're veteran ran and owned. And the founder is an elk hunter, and preferably with a bow. And we're going to share elk camp for a few days this year. So versus Starbucks, we're going to buy Starbucks. You think they're Pro 2A, pro hunting? Absolutely not. So coffee is life. And if you're like me, coffee is so much better in the mountains, or at least outside. So load up on the instant coffee, as well as, obviously Just Black. That is my favorite coffee that they make. Try a pour over, try a French press, try an AeroPress, or bring a damn coffee pot to camp and plug into your generator. I don't care. Back to the story though. So we have 4 or 5 days here, guys, where we can call in a bull with soft cow calls, and they might come right in quietly, or they might come in screaming. We may catch a frenzy where it's like pure pecking order, and they are sorting these cows out right then and there, and you can just slip in. That is awesome. But more than likely, it's going to be really hot, really dry, lackluster when it comes to vocalizations. Sign is going to be hot and dusty, and there's going to be a lot of times where you're going to be sweating your you-know-what off, and you're just going to be like, this sucks. Please exercise patience. So I'll give you a couple things to think about. Mornings, non-negotiable. You have to be on your vantage in the dark, ready to go, and to get the biggest master vantage you can find, and bring the biggest glass. Use a tripod, and even if you're just using binoculars, and sit there and watch everything for hours and see where the elk are going, see where the elk are at, and watch their behavior. If you're hunting timber country, you're not doing that. But what you are doing is you're going to be running ridges, preferably in the dark, right before daylight, like probably a good hour of pre-dawn type stuff, and just send out location bugles and cow calls and see if you can get an answer. You can use the daylight hours to look for sign, but right now you need auditory clues as to where elk are, or if they are there. This is why I don't hunt timber country as much as I used to. I'd much rather watch, see, do a lot of the work with glass. Anyways, mornings non-negotiable, especially pre-dawn bugles, location bugles. Have that on lock. Then evenings for me are going to be sitting high productive, high sign areas, ambushing, or soft cow call, cold calling, which I will come back to cold calling and give you some examples. Or I'll have my latitude attitude, meaning I will get in my saddle system from latitude and set a pinch point, or most likely set a wallow, a spring, or a water hole. And I like evenings over mornings. To me, mornings is just too productive behind the glass to sit perched up in a tree. And elk will sometimes get water on the way to their bedroom. So if your water source is near there, that might be productive. But more than likely, they're going to get water in the evenings at the hottest part of the day or just after the hottest part of the day. They're going to hit water and then head to the grocery store. You may have a micro meadow near your water source. So they're going to be like, boom, water, micro meadow, and then on to the bigger grocery store. So it's kind of like little convenience store snack, and then they're headed to the big, Costco or grocery store. So guys, blackovis.com carries just about everything under the sun. I personally shop there for a lot of my backcountry needs, including freeze-dried meals. If you ever make an order, you'll realize how fast their shipping is and their customer service is on point. If you make a mistake on your order, the wrong size, they'll easily get you a return label and get you squared away. Also, if you're looking for custom arrows, I mean, you want to do real bougie builds or something basic, they got you. They can cut your arrows to whatever length, add whatever components, and put whatever arrow vein configuration you want. If you use the discount code dialed25 at checkout on Arrow ID, it'll get you the lightning service and those arrows will be at your doorstep. So if you're going to do some shopping, please check out blackovis.com. Throw in the discount code ELKSHAPE. It'll save you 10%. Born Primitive Outdoor is the clothing we wear, not only in the gym, but more importantly, out in the field. My favorite pant is their most affordable. It's the Terrain. My second favorite is the Frontier Light. It's a very quiet, performance-based material that has four-way stretch, articulated knees, and performs well. It has ventilation. I also wear the Ridgeline base layers, their mid layers, the Quiver, as well as their Puffy, the Tundra Light, and Heavy. They also have wind stopper jackets, and their rain gear is the only rain gear that I know that has four-way stretch. It's all performance-driven. It's not camouflage. It is, in my opinion, the best. Use our discount code ELKSHAPE to save some loot and to support us. Check out bornprimitiveoutdoor.com. What's up, guys? So Black Rifle Coffee Company, we've partnered with them because Dan loves coffee, just black. Literally and figuratively, that's my favorite flavor from Black Rifle. Their energy drinks now have zero sugar. These are really good. Throw in your cooler, especially on those long drives to elk camp when you got to go across 3 or 4 states. Discount code ELKSHAPE20 will save you some loot. Check out their subscription where the coffee is sent to your doorstep, plus some perks. You can get some swag. That discount code will work store-wide. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-owned, and the founder, Evan, is a buddy of mine who is also a fellow bow hunting addict, specifically for elk. We love Black Rifle Coffee Company. Check them out today. For me, I definitely think I would probably try my best to kill an elk over a wallow or a spring in evenings only. In mornings, I'm going to be realistically driving about 15 miles from camp to glass at a master vantage and then decide if I want to make moves or not, or just study elk and see what's going on, try to figure out where they're at in the rut and if there's bulls or not bulls. But let's talk about bulls. Bulls are homies in the summer. They typically hang out at a higher elevation than the cows. They bro out all summer. The grass is green. It's peaceful. It's bro, man. It's frat life. And then velvet comes off around mid-August and attitudes change. Testosterone levels, free testosterone rises. Decisions are made. Frenemies, potential enemies. Everyone goes their own way except for the younger bulls. They typically stick together. So the bigger bulls pull off. They go into solitude. I call it like that stage of pre-rut, like just kind of feeling themselves, kind of building up that confidence, raking trees, velvets come hanging off. They might start bugling a little bit. By the way, I said this on this pod, but I've heard many bulls bugle in July, like location bugles when I'm out hanging trail cams or picking huckleberries. I've heard bulls bugle in July. So if you don't think bulls will bugle in August, you're wrong. They will. And then the bugling picks up as season approaches. But where do these bulls go to stage? Well, typically it's like a halfway house between summer and rut. And I think a lot of the cows hang out at a lower tier, not always, but just generally speaking. And I think they're just cowing calves and just making a living. And then these bulls eventually will just flip the switch and go get those cows, go scoop them up. I think the bigger the bull, typically the longer they wait to go do that. And I think they have a reason for that. I think the younger bulls go down and try to get the cows all rounded up themselves and the bulls have figured out that they can spend less energy, show up, grab the herd from the young 5x5, take over, and then run the show, and then one by one peel off each hot cow as they come into estrus for 12 hours and breed them all eventually. So what I'm looking for is, where are the cows? Where are the calves? Where are they hanging out? What tier? Um, what 5 point and rag bulls are running the show? Sometimes there's a big bull running the show. That's great. Like I said in the beginning of the pod, I've seen it all that happen. But for me, I'm going to spend the first 5 to 7 days of September pretty much glassing mornings and pinch point hunting evenings. It's not that exciting. It's a long day waiting for that productive evening water sit, pinch point sit. Mornings, I may go after him, but it's got to be the right situation to where I feel like I can make a move and I'm seeing a bull that I want to go after. But that's what I've done for quite a while in the last few years, is really just taking the first week to try to ambush. And last year was my first really, truly successful finding the water source in the high country and sitting it. I just never saw a shooter. That's not true. I did see one shooter, but never had a shot at a shooter. And I passed on several rag bulls from an elevated position. So shout out to Latitude. I'm going to be running their system. And you too can find some productive things like that to look forward to. I wanted to go back to the cold calling deal, because this is the least sexiest style of elk hunting, but it's very fruitful first week. And what you're going to be looking for is, I'll just give an example of the last time I killed a bull cold calling. It was in Wyoming. It was in 2019, let's say. And I had a limited entry tag. Took me a lot of points to draw. So put that is part of the equation. My Wyoming resident friend, my resident guide, texted me that he was going to be 2 days behind schedule. And prior to that, I had gone into the wilderness and called in a 350 bull my first probably hour in the wilderness, and the season wasn't open. And I was bummed, because I was like, damn, I got all these big bulls to go hunt, and there's a pile of Wyoming residents at the trailhead, and they're kind of jerks to me when I came out, being like, hey, where are you from? Like, not how are you doing? And I said, I'm from Washington. They're like, you can't hunt here during the season without a resident guide. And I said, yes, I did know that. Thank you. But season's not open. I'm allowed to be back here. GTFO is what I said, meaning I'm going to get the F out of here. I don't want to deal with these guys. Got the in reach from my buddy and said he's not going to be able to, he's going to be 2 days late. So I had to scramble and hunt the non-wilderness stuff, which actually turned out to be decent. Found some bulls in there. And then on opening day, after probably 2-3 hours of working through timber, calling, seeing a few elk, I popped up on this little island of a micro meadow, about 100 yards wide. Tons of elk trails leading to and from it. Good sign. I could tell based on the sign that the elk feed in this micro meadow a little bit. I mean, the tracks were real close together. There was a few beds. There was lots of poop, stuff like that. And I let out a location bugle, nothing. And so then I just set up. When I set up, I mean, I found the biggest game trail. Thermals were blowing up. Found a couple little pocket of spruces tucked in there. Let out some soft cow calls, a couple of mews, like calf calls. Let some time go by. 15 minutes later, now I kind of brought in some estrus sounds, some whining, some estrus buzz, whatever terminology you want to, like a cow that wants to be bred, and then a spike bugle, a young bull who shouldn't be breeding her, that's all excited. Kind of paint a picture, and then not a lot of calling, but some, and then just ice, watch, listen. Had a 5x5 finally come in. He popped up. Of course, he came to the edge of the timber. No shot, looked around, didn't see what he wanted to see, turned around, left. Okay, if I had had a decoy or something, he might have come in closer. It was a 5-point. Wasn't going to shoot him. 10 minutes later, new 5-point, different trail comes up. He can't see the whole little micro meadow, so he pops out, walks out, starts feeding, milling around. Couldn't get him to leave. He hung out for like 15, 20 minutes. He didn't get my wind. He was looking, lost interest, went to feeding, and then went back, dipped into bed. Fast forward the next day. Somehow I found myself back on this island around 10 o'clock in the morning again. I'd hunted all this stuff, and Did a very similar sequence. Few calls, nothing. A few more excited cow calls, nothing. Threw out a squeaky bugle, some cow calls, 6 point walks out, 35 yards, and I smoked him. Not the most exciting way to kill an elk, I'll be honest, but man, wouldn't that's a lot better than sitting back at camp, so finding some high productive, good sign, um, fresh green elk poop, great elk trails, big bull tracks. What kind of tracks are they doing? Is the gate far apart? They're in transition. Is the gate super close? They're feeding or in their bedding. What kind of rubs? Can you smell them? What's the wind doing? What's the terrain features? Why would they want to bed in this area? Can you pull them up from their beds? That kind of stuff. So cold call midday, do it if you got nothing else going on. Then lastly, hopefully you catch what we talked about at the beginning of the pod, whether you have the day. And I think that day is going to happen that first week. And I hope you're there for it. Where the bulls move in, the cows are gathered, and they're going to pecking order sort this stuff out. Maybe epic screaming and fighting, may just be a few short, chest bumps, and it's figured out. But I'd love for you to be there. And then you can kind of start figuring things out. A lot of times it's the same old bull with the same old lead cow, and they're getting reunited. It's real common. But first week can be productive. Big herd bulls can be killed, and they can be killed by ambush or cow calls or cold calling, or when they sort it out, you're not going to kill them from your couch. I will say this. If you're one of those guys who's got flexibility in taking time off and you're down there and you're just not popping, it's not legit, then just set your camp up and leave it and go back to work for a few days. And then you can daydream about what you're going to do when you come back, and don't burn all your vacation days that way. That's totally cool. But I think for me, I'm not going to miss the first week just because I'm psycho. I just can't picture myself doing anything else, but it can be really productive. And if it's not, we'll talk about how week 2, because that's when the call-in really starts to pick up, and how you can vocalize or not vocalize to get into elk. Guys, I'm excited for you. September's here. We've waited all year. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's here. It just takes so long to get here. So you know what I'm going to tell you. September's finite. All it takes is all you got. Have zero regrets when you come home. So let's just go. And appreciate tuning in. Catch us next week. We'll do another short one. We'll talk about some elk calling tactics. Good luck to you all. God bless.